Tennessee has an open competition at quarterback right now between George McIntyre, Jake Merklinger, and Joey Aguilar. But Joey Aguilar, the Appalachian State transfer who spent the spring with UCLA, is still the favorite to start at Tennessee as Nico Iamaleava's replacement in the fall. There are still questions, though, surrounding Joey Aguilar and what he's going to be able to do. Most notably, Urban Meyer spoke the other day about concerns on Joey Aguilar. Very pessimistic outlook. He basically said he watched Aguilar because he wanted to familiarize himself. And he said, quote, I love Appalachian State, but the reality is you're stepping into the SEC. So everybody's at least a step, maybe at most positions, 2 steps faster. And when you have 24 interceptions, that's about 1 per game. That's way too many. The windows are just so much tighter in the SEC. I'll go back on record again saying Tennessee is screwed. Now you can get unscrewed real fast if that team develops, but as of May, we're in the get screwed category. So Heupel's questioning Aguilar's ability and his gunslinging mentality and the competition he's going to face. So let's play hot or cold on what's the biggest challenge facing Joey Aguilar, and it's brought to you by City Heating and Air, 50 years in East Tennessee. Integrity matters. cityheatandair.com. What are the biggest challenges facing Joey Aguilar in the SEC? First, no experience playing in the SEC or Power 5. That's something Urban Meyer brought up. You guys ready for this? I'm cold on that. I'm cold on that being an obstacle, and let me explain why. It's one thing to jump from the SEC or college football to the NFL, but jumping from a lower level to a higher level as a quarterback, that's not as much of an issue as you think, because quarterback is, and particularly at the college level, is so much more dependent on the skill positions around you. So while your competition goes up, the personnel surrounding you and your supporting cast goes up too. Joey Aguilar had a spike in interceptions from 2023 to 2024. I believe he went from 9 to 15. He also lost his top 2 receivers, his top running back, a couple of offensive linemen, all at the higher level. So his level of supporting cast completely collapsed in 2024. He would have had a massive upgrade in supporting cast had he jumped to Tennessee from 2023 from Appalachian State, based on what he had in 2023. It's an even greater jump in supporting cast from 2024. And the jump in supporting cast outweighs the lack of experience playing in the SEC or Power 5 or the amount of increased competition that he's going to face. So I'm cold on that being a real issue. Learning a new system, learning Josh Heupel's system. I'm cold on that as well. That's not a concern for me. It's a concern for other players, and we're going to get to the other players. But for Tennessee specifically, no. Josh Heupel's offense, guys, and I try to insist this a lot, is very easy for a quarterback to pick up. It's not easy for a lot of other positions to pick up, but it is extremely easy for a quarterback to pick up. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons to be excited about Joey Aguilar. Some people think he's a better fit for Heupel's system. This is not a hard system to figure out. We all could learn this thing in 2 weeks. You look at one side of the field and you read a safety and you get rid of the ball quickly based on what the safety is doing. You pretty much know where you're going before this ball is snapped. You just have to hope the receiver's on the same page, which brings to our next point. What about this? Developing a quick rapport with receivers. Is that a concern? Yes. Now that's a big concern for Joey Aguilar. And the reason I bring that up is it's not so much about Aguilar, it's about the receivers. The receivers do read option routes. They base their route based on what the defense is doing. They don't communicate it with the quarterback. The quarterback and receiver just have to assume they're on the same page. The receiver has to choose the route he's going to run. The quarterback has to be able to anticipate which route the receiver will run. The receiver has to anticipate what route the quarterback anticipates him to run. So that's a huge amount of chemistry that is required to develop, and it can be difficult. So I am hot on that being a concern because they have to be able to be on the same page. And while the quarterback can read the safety and learn the system, the rapport with the receivers is a big deal, and he's only going to have a couple of months to figure that out with Mike Matthews, Chris Brazzell, and Braylon Staley. That's the biggest concern. They got to be able to be on the same page to run the right option routes. So I'm hot on that. Pressure. I'm cold on that. Joey Aguilar is a 5th-year senior. He's very, very experienced, very developed. I don't think the pressure is going to get to him or bother him, honestly. Now, you don't really know until you see the field, but you either have it or you don't. And I don't think that really applies for a new quarterback. So I wouldn't be concerned about Joey Aguilar with pressure. Hot or cold brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. 50 years in East Tennessee, integrity matters. City Heat and Air. We're going to close this out in 1 second. First, a quick message from City Heat and Air. And please vote on the poll question on the biggest challenges facing Joey Aguilar. I will bring up those to you in 1 minute after this message.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
The poll question up: what is the biggest challenge Joey Aguilar will face this year if he starts for the Vols, moving up to SEC competition, learning Josh Heupel's system, or, and this is the last one, his own limitations as a quarterback? I'm hot on this. Now, he still could be a better fit for Josh Heupel's system. We talked about this with Will West two Fridays ago. He's a gunslinger. He's willing to throw it up to let his receivers make a play. He'll be able to work the middle of the field more than Nico Iamaleava, Hendon Hooker, or Joe Milton could. Those are all advantages, but a key part of this offense is being able to lead receivers with the deep ball. We found out now the reason Nico Iamaleava wasn't able to do that last year is because Brew McCoy was a step slow, which messed up everything, and it wasn't Brew McCoy's fault. He was coming off a broken leg. But you got to be able to lead with the deep ball, and the deep ball's questionable with Joey Aguilar. Taking that into account, we have to say that I personally think the physical limitations are a little more underrated than we're giving it credit to. They've got to address those issues. As far as the poll question goes, many of you guys disagree with me, because when it comes to what is the biggest challenge Joey Aguilar will face this year if he starts for the Vols, moving up to SEC competition leads the way at 62%. Learning Josh Heupel's system is 25%. His limitations as a quarterback is 12%. I'm sorry, his limitations as a quarterback is a bigger deal for me. So I think that's one of the biggest ones. So the biggest two to me are his limitations as a quarterback and establishing a rapport with the wide receivers, because they have to be on the same page. That is key for this offense to work. They have to be able to read the same thing, see the same thing. And that's why it's actually more complicated for receivers to learn the system than quarterbacks, because they have to anticipate what the quarterback is going to anticipate. And they have to read the safety too, and they have multiple option routes, and they have to choose which route to run. That's why Mike Matthews didn't thrive in the system his first year last year. A lot of first-year receivers, almost no freshman receivers really stand out in this offense. It takes a year. Veterans can probably pick it up quicker. That's how you saw Velus Jones do it, Cedric Tillman do it, Hendon Hooker as a quarterback do it and develop a rapport with them. But it took Jalen Hyatt a year, and then Jalen Hyatt won the Biletnikoff Award. Brew McCoy picked it up too, but Brew McCoy was a veteran when he arrived at Tennessee. So I think in general, the rapport with the receivers is the biggest concern overall to establish. I really don't think that the SEC competition is a big deal. I don't. I think he's going to have a lot more supporting cast around him. And I think with that in mind, there's not much to be concerned about when it comes to Joey Aguilar facing tougher competition. He's going to be fine on that. Now, as far as some of the things you guys are seeing on the message board, Steve says Nico didn't win a single game for the Vols last season, so the bar isn't set too high. I actually think he did help Tennessee beat Alabama. I think he played a significant role in them beating Alabama. David Speak says Joey Swagular. I do like it. Wants to win badly. Watch any of his games, he puts it all on the line, and he does seem to have a lot of heart as a gunslinger. Adam says maybe we'll find out Squirrel White wasn't as good of a receiver and held us back. I do think he held Tennessee back last year, Adam, because of that separated shoulder, and so we'll see how that goes. One thing about Hawkhead says one thing about Joey, Hendon wasn't good either until he hooked up with Heupel. Yes, Hawkhead, but Hendon wasn't bad. He battled injuries when he was at Virginia Tech, and his coach was throwing him under the bus. So we're going to see how all of this plays out. But I do think I do think that in general, Joey Aguilar, there's not as many concerns about what's happening there. Now, Dan Yoder says questions of whether or not the line can protect him better than Iamaleava. I like that. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but I like that. I do think there's a good point. I do think that's a good point, Dan. And people forget Nico was dealing with two injured tackles last year, and now Joey Aguilar has to deal with 3 new interior linemen, but he got no protection last year either. He had no time to throw the ball, even at Appalachian State. So we're going to see how that plays out.